My name is Edward, and this is my brother Lorenzo, and thanks to all of you for coming down and listening to us talk about our project.
All right, when we first started to put together a presentation deck, or an investor deck, if you will, everyone told us you need, the very first slide should describe a problem that you're solving. And for example, I'd like to drink a virtual beer. I want my phone to make me sound like a cat. I want to slice virtual watermelons with a virtual ninja sword. There is an app for that. Or my teenager borrows my car late at night. How much water's in the rainwater reservoir at the neighborhood garden? I can't keep an eagle eye on my $8,000 guitar at big events, rock stars. When the AC fails and my server room overheats, I'd like to know the humidity and the CO2 in my greenhouse and how that relates to temperature and my growth rates. Maybe the pH in the water in my hydroponic system. I need to measure and visualize air pollutants at a 3 meter, 10 millisecond spatiotemporal hyperlocality across the entire LA metro. There's an app for that. It's us. This next slide is the most narcissistic, insanely vain thing you've ever seen in a presentation like this, because that's me. I'm a little bit embarrassed about it, because my knee isn't actually on the ground. So for the motorcyclists in the room, that's a little embarrassing. The story behind this and the story behind Valarm, that was my bike in 2011. In October, it was stolen from my secured garage below my apartment building. I cried a little. Anybody who rides a motorcycle will know, and I know I saw a Triumph Daytona 675 roll in here tonight. It hurts a lot to lose a bike. The thing goes 180 miles per hour in a few seconds. You learn to control it. It becomes a part of your body. When somebody steals it, it really hurts. It's like losing your bionic legs or other parts. So, with the insurance money, thanks to that little green lizard with the oddly Australian accent, I did a gleefully juvenile delinquent or midlife crisis douchebaggery sort of thing and spent the entire insurance payout as the down payment on the next bike, which made me pretty nervous because the day I brought it home, I discovered, thanks to the magic of the internet, that thieves always check back because they know you have insurance and they know you'll replace the bike. So they come back. I got pretty paranoid. This is a little dark here. You can't see this, but there are two massive U-locks on there, a $400 14 millimeter hardened steel chain, another one on the front wheel. I was pretty paranoid, pretty freaked out. I thought, you know what, I'll get LoJack for my bike. Turns out LoJack costs $1,700 to install. That's 10% of the price of the bike, roughly. I thought, hey, you know, I'm a bit of a hacker. It'd be fun to join the whole maker revolution thing. I'll buy an Arduino, a GPS locator, a CDMA modem, a LiPo battery, an accelerometer, and I'll put it all together in a little box because that's what LoJack is, and I'll stick it in my bike. And turns out that will all cost me about 120 bucks, which is good. That's a lot cheaper than $1,700, and it would be a lot of fun to put together. But as soon as I realized the price and everything that I was looking at there, I recognized that what that is a smartphone. So, this is what Valarm is. It's a smartphone that is not really a phone. It's not the phone in your pocket. We're repurposing it. Okay? We're not the only ones doing this. It's being done in science, in academia, and research. It's not really being done at the consumer level. Luckily, we don't really care much because we've got some other markets to look at. Not long after I started the project, I said, well, I want somebody to touch my bike, and I get a text message. That took an hour to write. An hour later, I mentioned it to my brother, and you'll see more about him and why. And he was like, hey, you know, if you're not home and somebody does take the bike, wouldn't you like to know where it went? And this guy, being a professor of geographical information sciences, said, here, let me write that for you. And next thing you know, my text messages, including tracking data, started to flow out of my repurposed Android phone. Not long after that, we recognized that there's a whole lot more we could do with it. We started adding sensors and adding other stuff. Now, if you do pick up the phone, it'll take your picture and send it off to me, if you happen to dig it up out of the trunk of the motorcycle. Then we recognized, oh, you know what? Theft tracking is not really what we're actually interested in here. There's a much bigger, much more interesting opportunity. And so we started adding external sensors, vehicle diagnostics via OBD2, volatile organic compounds. Those are VOCs. In a brand new facility like this, full of new carpet and new furniture, you're all inhaling VOCs. It's kind of a problem. Not cross-campus. We get enough traffic in here, it's probably blown out. And it's Santa Monica, and the air is really nice. So, thank you, cross-campus. But this is a problem in office buildings, as well as CO2, which is probably a problem in this room right now. A lot of European research has shown that rising CO2 levels in campuses, in classrooms, in dormitories are a significant problem. They actually reduce intelligence level and performance of students. So monitoring CO2 is something we're really keen on. And so is everybody else who grows special plants in hydroponics. So that's another market that might go. So that is the nature of our product in a nutshell. Edward?
Yeah, so if you're wondering what does Valarm mean, it stands for Versatile Asset Locator and Remote Monitor. So a few of our keywords in what we do, as Lorenzo hinted at previously, is remote environmental monitoring. We also do asset tracking as in motorcycles, or maybe you're tracking a fleet of vehicles. And then also mobile data acquisition. If you're measuring things like resistance or voltage, we can do that. The big idea is that you'll see the Valarm app there, a couple screenshots. We have a bunch of sensors in there. We started with the built-in sensors like the accelerometer, as Lorenzo mentioned, but then added on the external sensors like CO2, VOCs, and basically when you have those different sensors enabled, if you have some trigger, some threshold gets exceeded or goes below, you get a text message, you get an email, you get it posted on the web, on a map, and that's how it works. So we're using Android, and we get this question a lot, if you can't tell already, but there's a few reasons why we're using Android. Big one is the 75% this year market share that Android has in the whole world, and it's also an open platform. So a lot of our external sensors like temperature, humidity, barometric pressure, those are USB. Android has that standard. Those are open. You can program those. Anybody can on Android. Same with Bluetooth. It talks to the car in your computer. So Valarm can get your RPMs and text all that message to you. If your pizza delivery driver is flooring the pedal, you'll know how far down he's pushing the pedal. And then also how many people make Android devices. You only got Apple making iPhones. You've got people like Samsung and Sony and Asus, Motorola, a whole bunch of people. And the price, as Lorenzo mentioned, we're looking at dedicated devices at $50 or maybe less. Maybe you have an extra device that you can use as a dedicated Valarm unit. That's the key.
All right, so we do have a handful of major verticals we're interested in doing. Commercial, agricultural, that's kind of the fleet tracking, the farm monitoring, high-value crops like blueberries, tomatoes, and other expensive stuff that you might grow. Fleet and asset tracking, mobile data acquisition, office air quality, I already mentioned, food production, food storage, the cold chain, which is refrigerated stuff, chemical storage, energy management. We can monitor wattage, amperage, voltage, and actually post that stuff. Research and academia. Edward is very well connected in that market. He's a professor at USC in the Spatial Sciences Institute. Graduated from UC Santa Barbara with his PhD a couple years ago. So he's real well connected there. Finally, and maybe least, consumer. Is it interesting, consumers? Yeah, sure. There's actually a bunch of fun stuff you can do with it. And another slide, I think it's the next one, we'll talk about some of the neat stuff. But yeah, you can monitor your garden, your pond, your aquarium, keep an eye on the pH level in your aquarium, you know, whatever. Monitor your vacation home. It detects water on the floor. It detects freezing pipes. And it does all this.
So you have 10 seconds to read this slide. No, the idea is that Valarm does a lot of stuff. And I guess the truth is we had a lot of fun doing it. We're brothers. We grew up together, lived close together. And so we put in a lot of features over the last year and just kind of whip it up. 4 of the 5 members on the team are programmers. So if we think of a feature, you know, it could be in by the end of the day. To all the startup people out there, you hear MVP, minimum viable product. Well, maybe we didn't have that. Maybe we had some kind of maximum viable product. And, you know, if we're actually going to pivot, instead of adding features, maybe we'd actually remove features.
So, thanks. Okay, on this slide, you see a couple of different applications. That's a guy in a helicopter. This is his GPS track. Yeah, the cell phone really can monitor GPS this accurately. He's flying around North Carolina. And yeah, we're tracking him with Valarm. That's tracking my guitar. That's monitoring freezing pipes. We've got a vineyard up in Santa Barbara County who is very much looking forward to our new solar-powered unit out in the vineyard. We'll turn on the irrigation when it's about to freeze. That's a laser home monitoring system. We can monitor light, so when the light leaves the light sensor, Valarm triggers. That's actually the staircase in our apartment. That's Valarm in Edward's Prius, tracking him everywhere he goes. Every time he starts the car, I receive a text message, and then I can see where he's going. When he turns it off, I receive a separate and different text message to know where he's arrived.
So you can take all your data, put it out there on our website. We have tools. It's all linked and integrated to tools.valarm.net. You can also export to KML, Google Earth, 3D it, geographic information systems and science, do further analysis. We're mostly the data collection. This is our team, and we've had a lot of fun. We're all good friends, so we got together and had a fun picture, and everybody on the team is here tonight. So if you want to talk to any of us, feel free to come up and get more about Valarm.
This friendly guy on the left, put it back. That's our attorney. He's actually even friendlier than he looks. So, yeah. Okay, where we are, we're launched. We're live in the App Store. Our site is live. We're ready to scale. We've got customers around the world. Not a whole lot, but we do have a few, and they're in all kinds of wacky countries, which is cool and weird to us because we don't know exactly how they found us because we're doing some social media and we're posting on blogs and all that, and we're coming here. But yeah, we're self-funded. We're just bootstrapping this thing, kind of doing it for fun and seeing where it goes. And we're just now beginning our actual marketing and PR efforts. So thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
So you're having a great time, and it works in so many different use verticals. Are you going to pick one or two and focus on them because someone investing with you is going to figure out how you're going to make money?
We're very, very interested in channel partners, much more so than investors, in fact. And here's why. The bill for our server is significantly less than my cell phone bill. Actually, for our farm of servers, we've got 3, and we're ready to scale at all 3 tiers. Part of our maximum viable product philosophy, we're ready to scale horizontally in every direction. I'm a software engineer, so that's what I do. But yeah, we want channel partners more than we want investors right now.
Okay, if you have more questions, just approach them after the presentation. Thank you so much, Valarm.
Thanks, guys.